the channel. I'm back to break down this 14-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Before we get into the breakdown, if you enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. I'll be here all MLB DFS season long, breaking down these MLB DFS slates to help you guys become better MLB DFS players, help you guys win some money night in and night out. And don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my home run call of the day, the guy that I'm picking to go deep. Been on a streak with those, looking to go for 3 in a row on that. And lastly, if you are getting really serious about MLB DFS, really wanting to win some money, really looking to grind, I would highly recommend my MLB DFS premium package. Just link below in the description. You get access to all the same tools that I use when building my own DFS lineups, like my starting pitcher data sheet, high hitter, stack guys data, splits leaderboard, team hitting data, bullpen data, power rankings, and cheat sheet, as well as access to the Discord chat. Communicate with all the members in there, as well as myself. You get direct access to message me on Patreon, all of that fun stuff. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down the slate today. As always, I'd like to go ahead and sort my sheet by K rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. Go ahead and figure out the pitchers we're going to play first in the slate, and then we'll break down bats in the latter half of the video. And the top guy on the slate today is going to be Corbin Burnes, taking on the San Francisco Giants. Comes with a 36% K overall, 16% swinging strike rate, 38.8% K rate against righties, and a 33.5% K rate against lefties. Very, very elite stuff, top-notch stuff as far as K rate. And when you're looking at the matchup that he has today, as far as the San Francisco Giants are concerned, looking at with the lineup that they're expected to roll out here, it's in Milwaukee. Unfortunately, if this game was in San Francisco, I'd like it even more. But with that being said, he's a 162 favorite. The Giants only have a 3.57 implied run total, and there's definitely some strikeouts to be had throughout this lineup with a guy that has a 30-plus K rate against both sides, or at least, you know, a 33% K rate against both sides of the plate. It's really good stuff. 11K on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, he's 10K, and he's the top priced guy for good reason. Definitely could be looking to some Corbin Burnes today. Second on the list, we got Alek Manoah, the young talent, comes in with a 47 innings pitch sample size, 29.2% K overall, 13.6% swinging strike rate, a 27.3% K rate against righties, and a 30.8% K rate against lefties. The problem is he has to take on the Boston Red Sox, which is a team I really don't like targeting that much. They really don't strike out that much. They're really talented up and down. But when you look at their implied run total, the fact that they have a 4.18 implied run total is something to take note of, because I think Vegas is really showing they respect this Manoah kid. I think they should with the numbers he has. He's 9.2 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 9.4. And although it's not the best matchup, and although he's not going to be my top tier option, I would say he definitely makes for a good contrarian play, because he's definitely not going to get the ownership that he typically would. And for that reason, he can make some sense. Same rule is going to apply to Patrick Sandoval, taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Very similar situation here. Sandoval doesn't have quite as good of stuff, to be honest, as far as keeping the ball on the ground, limiting the slugging to both sides of the plate, but still does have a 27.4% K overall, a 16.4 swing strike rate, good ground ball, fly ball stuff, but also gets a very difficult matchup taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. So on a slate this big, oftentimes I just say, you know, what's the point in targeting a guy in a matchup like that when we have so many other options, so many better matchups that we can drop down to, and I just don't think it's necessary. Maybe a guy like a Kyle Muller taking on the Washington Nationals with 27% K rate overall, 13.9 swing strike rate. That's very good. That's third on the slate. 26.8% K rate overall, and a 28% K rate against lefties. That's going to get the job done for you for sure. And he's taking on a Washington team that has become much weaker without the presence of Trey Turner on the lineup. They've gotten rid of a few other guys. Muller comes in with as a 195 favorite, and you know, just good stuff. He's 7-7 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, he's priced at, let's see, 9.2. So he's definitely at a friendlier price tag over on FanDuel. And when you're looking at his pitch count, that's also a little bit of a concern, because he's been limited right around like 90 pitches tops. Last time 7 Ks, 1 on run through 5 innings pitched. Like, that's a great performance, but if he would have came back out in the 6th inning, I would have felt a lot better about it. Always looking for guys with a maximum leash as far as pitch count is concerned. Caleb Smith, Bailey Ober, both guys I'm really not looking to in difficult matchups as well. The Padres and the Houston Astros, they just really don't strike out. Why would I want to target them when I can go to a guy like a Herman Marquez, who's taking on the Miami Marlins, 25% K overall, 13% swinging strike rate, good ground ball, fly ball stuff, a 30.4% K rate against righties, and a 20.7% K rate against lefties. And he's taking on a Miami team tonight that just really is not good. They have a ton of strikeouts in their bats. It's in Coors Field, unfortunately, which is a little bit of, you know, that's unfortunate because it's the best hitting environment in baseball. It's 81 degrees, 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to right center. So that's a big downside to the matchup, but at the same time, Even though that's a downside to the matchup, you still got to have a lot of interest in the arm of Herman Marquez because these guys just strike out that much, and he's proven time in and time out that he can still pitch at Coors. So maybe his ownership isn't quite as high as it should be, and if that's the case, I'm definitely going to be wanting to jump on him even more. 9.9 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 8.4, and I just think he has good stuff. I think this lineup is that bad, and I think he could definitely take advantage. They're also very right-handed heavy, and when you're looking at Marquez's splits, he has a 30.4% carry against righties and a 20.7% carry against lefties. So you prefer to target him against very right-handed heavy lineups, and he gets that. Now, with that being said, we have a guy in Chris Bassett taking on the Texas Rangers who doesn't have to pitch in Coors Field. He's been good all season long, a 24.9% KO overall. The Texas Rangers lineup is also very watered down after trading away lots of their assets. 24% K rate against righties, a 25.9% K rate against lefties, and he has very good ground ball, fly ball stuff across the board. So as far as everything matching up, I would say that Chris Bassett is the top option of anyone we've discussed so far, as far as ballpark is concerned, upside, his opponent. Chris Bassett is going to make a lot of sense for me on the slate today. Comes in at 9.8 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 9.8 as well. And the Oakland Coliseum's a great pitching ballpark. He gets a great matchup. He's got great stuff. Even though he doesn't have the highest K rate in the world, he does a great job keeping the ball on the ground at both sides of the plate. And he's in a matchup where the K rate is going to inflate for him. So it makes a lot of sense. Another guy the K rate is going to inflate is Logan Webb taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Very good ground ball, fly ball stuff, a 24.1% carry overall, 24.2% carried against righties, and a 23.9% carried against lefties. And as mentioned, the Milwaukee Brewers strike out a bunch. They have been a pretty hot offense, which is a little bit scary, but they have a 4.43 implied run total. He's only 7.6 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they've got him priced at 7.2, so even a better friendly price tag. He's been right around up to 94 pitches as far as his recent outing, so I think he could finally be back up there after working his way up in pitch count a little bit. And he had 3 Ks through 6 innings pitched. Could be a good matchup for him. The pitch count's still not the highest compared to some others, so that's always a little bit concerning to me, but definitely could be looking at him. We have John Means taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. They've been a team we've been looking to target with left-handed pitching all season long, but the problem is with the new additions of Nelson Cruz, they have Juan Franco in the lineup. They're getting a lot better, so it's becoming a little bit less of a lock and load spot when they're facing a lefty. They have a 5.17 implied run total. I think that kind of proves my point there. So not nearly as much interest as I might have had earlier on in the season. And honestly, as we continue to go down the slate, pitching dips off pretty quickly here. We have Ryan Yarbrough taking on the Baltimore Orioles, their team we've been looking to target all season long. Really doesn't have the best strikeout stuff, but the ground ball, fly ball stuff's been pretty decent overall. I mean, against righties, he's still getting quite a bit of slugging. But could I see him going out there and putting on a pretty good performance in this particular matchup? I think I could. He's priced at 8.1 over here on DraftKings. They've had him right around 80 to 100 pitches. He's been able to stretch his performances out quite a bit. Last time he did get blown up against Baltimore. Honestly, I could see them getting into him again, but I could also see him having a good performance. It's going to break one way or the other. So if you want to put him in a few lineups, obviously not the top option. And none of these guys really are. I think pitching is kind of straightforward. I mean, I talked about a couple guys that I really like. They're kind of in obvious spots compared to the rest of the slate. We have Marcus Stroman taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Their team that strikes out a lot. He has really good ground ball, fly ball stuff. He just doesn't really have the highest K rate. But taking on a team that strikes out a lot, he could really see his K rate inflate here. And he could be definitely an intriguing option. And Kyle Gibson in that same game could be an intriguing option as well. Taking on the New York Mets if you're looking to go to those guys. But I mean, overall, I think it's very clear that Chris Bassett and Corbin Burns really stand out to me after going through this whole breakthrough as far as matchups and stuff. And we also have Wade Miley taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates, which is another team that really doesn't scare me. Cal Quantrill taking on the Detroit Tigers. They don't scare me. His stuff's just really, really not that good. So, Wade Miley taking on a Pittsburgh Pirates team could make a lot of sense on this slate today as well if you need to go to someone that's a little bit cheaper. He's a 199 favorite. The Pirates only have a 3.94 implied run total, and that would definitely make some sense. So with that being said, let's go to transition over to bats. As always, I like to go ahead and sort my sheet by Sierra, scale interactive ERA. It's a good way of determining how good a pitcher's been so far in the season and how good he's expected to be in the future. And the worst guy on the slate today is going to be Matt Manning taking on the Cleveland Indians. Really not good against anyone across the board. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's terrible. He gives up a 5.48 slugging to righties. He has been a lot better against lefties, I will say, though. So just keep that in mind. Although his hard contact stuff's all over the board, he's really been bad against righties. So the Cleveland Indians righties are going to be my favorite. Overall, I could definitely think you could stack them up anyways because the Detroit Tiger bullpen is terrible. I don't think Matt Manning's that good anyways. So if you want to play the lefties, wouldn't call you crazy at all. Bradley Zimmer, Anna Rosario, Jose Ramirez. Just keep in mind, Framber Reyes in that 4th spot is going to be one that really stands out to me in this particular matchup. So like him a lot. Bobby Bradley, Oscar Mercado, Maya Straw, Austin Hedges. So you can definitely stack up against Matt Manning today. Willie Peralta taking on the Seattle Mariners. Seattle Mariners really aren't the best lineup, but Willie Peralta is really not the best pitcher. He gets up a 410 slugging to righties, a 398 slugging to lefties. Really, really bad across the board for the most part. Has taken a bit of a step in the right direction, to be honest, though, compared to what he was kind of displaying earlier in his career. So I will give him a little bit of credit as far as that's concerned. But when you're looking at the Seattle Mariners lineup tonight, apologies, is actually Wandy Peralta taking on the Seattle Mariners. So a little bit of a data entry issue there. But Wandy Peralta, as far as breaking down him, he's a left-handed hurler. I don't think he's going to have the longest leash in the world. If you go ahead and look at his stats here over the season, we'll start Friday, was reinstated from the COVID-19 list. I mean, the guy has had a very short, he's just going to be an opener, essentially. So it's going to be a Yankees bullpen game. I don't really like targeting bullpen games all that much. The Yankees do have a pretty good bullpen overall. Mariners still do have a 4.41 applied run total. They're in a good ballpark, so if you want to go there, I want to call you crazy. It's just going to be very unpredictable as far as who they're going to have on the bump at what time in the game. So it's a little bit difficult to break that down. If you want to go there, maybe the Yankees, Wandy Peralta gets lit up early, and the Yankees put in some of their less talented arms, and then the Mariners really go off. That is a possibility. So I wouldn't write it off, but. Mike Foltynewicz taking on the Oakland Athletics. Ground ball, fly ball stuff really hasn't been the greatest. He gives up a 538 slugging to righties, a 598 slugging to lefties. Really, really not good across the board. The problem is it's in Oakland, so as far as targeting these Oakland bats, I mean, it's not the best hitting environment, but they do have a 5.14 implied run total, and the only downside really is the ballpark. So, Mark Canha, Starling Marte, Matt Olson, Ramon Laureano, Jed Lowry, Mitch Moreland, no issues with stacking up his team whatsoever. It's very clear that Folty's been struggling against both sides of the plate, giving up a lot of slugging. So, it makes sense as a stack. It just might be hard to be hitting home runs in 70-degree weather in Oakland with the ballpark being as deep in dimensions as it is. Marco Gonzalez taking on the New York Yankees. Bad across the board as far as ground ball, fly ball stuff. Hard contact stuff hasn't been the worst, but when you're looking at his numbers against righties, it's very, very bad. A 618 slugging, giving up 419 WOBA, 48.4% fly ball rate. That's not going to get the job done, and the Yankees righties are definitely going to be in play today. They have a 5.59 implied run total. DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Gleyber Torres, Kyle Higashioka, Jonathan Davis, like them all. And then if they're able to get Marco Gonzalez out of the game early, bring in some lesser talented arms out of that Seattle Mariners bullpen. Of course, the lefties in Anthony Rizzo and Joey Gallo could really pay off for you as well. So the Yankees stack definitely looking like a viable one today. We have Ryan Weathers taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's terrible. A 37.7% hard contact rate, a 456 slugging given up to righties. Lefties has been a lot better. So really looking to target the right-handed power as far as the Arizona Diamondbacks lineup is concerned, and how it's expected to break down today. In San Diego, which is a decent hitting ballpark, but not the greatest by far. And you have Carson Kelly, Christian Walker, the top prospect, and Drew Ellis, Jake Hogger at the bottom of the order, Nick Ahmed at the top, Ketel Marte, Carson Kelly rakes off lefties. So the Diamondbacks could actually be a very sneaky stack tonight that I guarantee doesn't get a lot of attention because, historically they're a very bad team. They don't have the best lineup. If you want to go there as a sneaky one. Cal Quantrill taking on the Detroit Tigers. He has been very bad against left-handed hitting. The Detroit Tigers, unfortunately, don't really have the most talented lineup in the world. If you're looking to stack them up, you would be looking to target the lefties. It is 84 degrees with the wind blowing out to right field, 6 miles an hour. So Akil Baddoo going to be a great play. Robbie Grossman, Jaime Candelario, Harold Castro, Willie Castro. But unfortunately, the rest of the lineup pretty right-handed heavy. So not exactly getting the most excited there. Eric Fetty taking on the Atlanta Braves, another guy that really struggles against left-handed hitting. So the Braves lefties, most notably Jock Peterson, Freddie Freeman, really going to stand out in this spot. Stephen Vogt. They do have a 5.53 implied run total, and I do think you can target the righties as well, even though he's been a lot better. The Braves lineup just has a lot of talent. If they're able to get to him early, the Washington Nationals bullpen is pretty bad. They could definitely be going off with a 5.53 implied run total, making a lot of sense to me today for sure. Caleb Smith taking on the San Diego Padres. He's given up a lot of hard contact, a lot of slugging, and the Padres definitely have some guys that rake left-handed pitching, so I think this could be a great spot for the San Diego Padres. With guys like Tommy Pham, Manny Machado, Will Myers. Unfortunately, we're not seeing Fernando Tatis expected to be in the lineup, but they do have Austin Nola, Jake Marisnick at the bottom, really rakes against lefties. So not quite as strong of a stack as it would be with Tatis in there, but a viable one. We have Kyle Gibson take on the New York Mets. Honestly, I'm not really looking to target him. As far as the Mets implied run total, breaking down what they're expected to score today, they have a 4.5 implied run total. Isn't a good ballpark. They do have a really good lineup up and down, so maybe more interesting than you would typically think. But Gibson's been pretty good. Only a 296 slugging unit up, 349 into lefties, so not that good. of a spot. Zach Greinke, the righty powers would have been getting to him with a 500 slugging. So if you want to target some Minnesota bats from the right-handed side of the plate, that would make some sense on this slate today. As far as who you'd be looking to, it's really just Brent Rooker, Josh Donaldson, Mitch Garver, Miguel Sano. They don't have the most loaded lineup. They only have a 3.6 implied run total, so probably not getting all too excited there. Kyle Muller taking on Washington. I had mentioned I'm not really looking to target him that much, to be honest. You could target him if you want, but slugging just really hasn't been there, so I'm not getting intrigued there. Ryan Yarbrough, you could pitch against Baltimore. I also think, looking at the numbers, you could very clearly target the Baltimore Orioles right-handed power bats. It kind of looks a little bit juicy to me, like only a 17.7% K rate, 467 slugging given up. The Baltimore Orioles never really get much ownership. The problem is, if we pull up, let's see, they only have a 4.33 implied run total, but it's in Baltimore. It's a great hitting environment. Only 86 degrees, 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out. If you look at the diagram as far as Baltimore and Oriole Park at Camden Yards, very good for home runs. And yeah, I just think that these righties could really pay off in tournaments. Austin Hayes, Trey Mancini, Ryan Mountcastle all rake off lefties. Ramon Urias, Pedro Severino rakes off lefties. Maikel Franco, Richie Martin, Anthony Santander could be thrown in your lineup. Cedric Mullins is a lefty one-off that if they get Yarbrough out of the game early, would be making some sense. In this same game, you can definitely be targeting the Rays. I think the Rays are going to be a really good offense against lefties compared to what we've seen going forward, as mentioned. So guys like Randy Rosarino, Wander Franco, Nelson Cruz, Yandy Diaz, Austin Meadows, Manuel Margot, Brandon Lau. You can even target the lefties to get contrarian. And we're not worried about the Baltimore Orioles bullpen either. So both of these offenses in really good hitting weather here in Camden Yards, really good ballparks, going to make a lot of sense to me for sure. And the same could be said for this Philadelphia game. We had mentioned Stroman and Gibson, really not looking to target them. But the hitting weather is really good. So as I dig into pitch data and stuff, maybe that's a spot that we can actually target and maybe other people aren't going to, and we can take an advantage of there. And then as we go along further here, things definitely start to get a little bit better. I mean, Bailey Ober taking on the Houston Astros is a very obvious spot here. A 441 slugging given up to righties, a 562 slugging given up to lefties. I'm sure the Houston Astros are going to garner quite a bit of ownership, and for a good reason. They come into this game with a 5.4 implied run total. They got Jose Altuve at the top, Michael Brantley, Uliska Gurriel, Yordan Alvarez, Carlos Correa, Kyle Tucker. Absolutely loaded lineup. You got to love targeting these guys. And, with a 441 slugging up and a 562 slugging up to lefties, you really got to like the lefties. It goes without saying. I mean, these lefties are going to be a great spot. And I'm definitely going to be targeting them very heavily. JT Brubaker taking on the Cincinnati Reds, probably the last guy that I'm going to mention here to target, with a 458 slugging up to righties and a 430 slugging up to lefties. The Cincinnati Reds lineup is starting to get healthy. When they're healthy, they're a very dangerous lineup, and it's a lineup where you're not going to get much of a breather up and down. You have Jonathan India at the top, Jesse Winker, Nick Castellanos, Joey Votto, Tyler Stevenson, Kyle Farmer, Tyler Naquin. Mike Moustakas is expected to return soon. Not sure if it'll be tonight, but you got to like the Reds offense as well a lot here, with the 458 slugging to righties and a 430 slugging to lefties. And those would be the last two offenses I'm looking to target on this slate today, really. So with that being said, before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Yordan Alvarez taking on Bailey Ober. You mentioned his hard contact issues against lefties. Absolutely dreadful. Really struggling against lefties with a 5.62 slug, giving up 401 WOBA, 43.9% fly ball rate, and only a 21% K rate. When breaking down what he's relying on as far as his pitch repertoire, very reliant on the fastball changeup combination, and Yordan Alvarez crushes both of those. Goes to the fastball about 57% of the time. On average, you're looking at a 92 to 93 mile-an-hour fastball, and Yordan Alvarez features a 371 ISO with a 539 WOBA against that pitch. And as far as the changeup, no issues either, because Alvarez features a 259 ISO with a 365 WOBA. Love this spot for Yordan Alvarez. Get him in your lineups because he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Yordan Alvarez, get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.